You
thoughts
already
and
said
feelings on. Yeah, that was in the disclaimer. I want to really make sure people get it. So
the whole
usually,
episode's gonna be you doing a disclaimer.
hello,
Oh,
we're
simulation is
recording
bad.
now.
I just said we're recording. That's all I said.
Andrea, and this is Just the Who of Us, where we talk about a range of topics including life events, current events, spirituality, entertainment, family relationships, as well as answering listener questions and more. All right, so before we get started on this impromptu episode, I just want to put out there that a few things. First thing being, in my own opinion, uh, gun violence is attributed to people, not guns, first and foremost. Also, just like stabbings are done by people, drugs are taken by people, like these objects.
AI
Yeah, like these
AI
objects,
deepfakes are done by people in the chair, not by AI itself. Like, I
right?
mean,
So these things are not the issue. The issue is people and how they use these things. Um, Disclaimer about gun violence, in my own opinion, the issue with guns is not guns themselves. The issue is that people can obtain firearms and aren't required to consistently maintain training. Another thing I want to make sure I address is that somebody pointed out to me on a post that I made that I'll be referring to. And they said, one thing that I admire about you is that you look at perspectives and you try to get other people to look at different perspectives and share their perspectives and respect perspectives and everything like that. And that is still true. So the things that we talk about today are, in our personal opinion, from our experience, what we've seen directly, not anything that we've heard from anybody else, the things that we've seen that we've experienced. Also, I do want to shed a little bit of both perspectives because that is what I try to do. I have my own opinion about things that's always formed from life experience and education and other things. But in at the end of the day, we have mostly one side opinions of a lot of things, right? Like most of the things we have a hard stance on, that's our stance. It is always important to look at other perspectives when you're forming a stance or an opinion. And sometimes you look at those other perspectives and you still have that opinion, and that's okay. We have free will and all, we have the right to our own opinion. Every conversation is not an educational professional conversation. Sometimes we have conversations like this conversation that is just personal opinions and perspectives, and it's a personal conversation. And that's not to be taken in any professional or formal capacity. Neither one of us are politicians. So by choice, we don't want to be. This is a personal opinionated conversation, and that is just that. Also, the topic that we discuss, in no way are either one of us ever saying that we support murder. We neither one of us are in support of just killing somebody just because you want to. But our perspective on this matter is based more on the kind of person that we've seen presented to us, the hypocrisy around holding on to the claim of a religion in order to be a nasty person. And, you may agree with that, you may disagree, and that's fine. And quite honestly, if it enrages you in your disagreement of this topic, by all means, you don't have to watch this episode, and we are not going to be upset about it. We'll see you on the next one or not. Hey, your choice. But either way, I wanted to make sure to say all that in the beginning. So, if religion is off topic for you, you might want to scroll
if you
past. Go ahead.
cannot handle the opposite views of what you believe, do not listen to this, basically.
100%. If you can't be open-minded, then this might
Yeah.
not be the episode for you. Now, we're not here to condone anything. We're not here to bash anything, but we are here. It's a podcast, right? And it's just what we do. We don't
We've
typically
and it
cover like popular topics, but I just felt like this was necessary today. So, here we are.
Now to the actual episode. Thank you for listening to our long-ass disclaimer, and if you did so, please comment below.
Also, on this topic, we have a few different age perspectives. So I'm 40, Natia is 20. Do you turn 25 yet?
I'm about to in a couple days. So,
Okay, okay. I knew it was coming, but um
and you're not gonna give me anything? Oh my God.
I'm giving you my presents right now. My presents, not presents.
Okay. I was about to say, give me that dollar. Give me that dollar. Change, please. Give me some change.
and and we even have a homeless person on our show. So like we don't discriminate. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But so I'm 40, Natia is 20, about to be 25. Tatiana's here. She's
Close enough
18.
to say
She's got,
25. Yeah.
yeah. So, a little bit different ages here to share different opinions. And we all have relatively the same opinion. Now, Natia and I do not associate with the same political party necessarily. However, that's one of the great things about having us on here together, is that we can have different opinions. And that's something that I kind of want to showcase in this episode because it's okay to have different opinions. It's okay to live different lifestyles. It's okay, but it's just how you communicate with people
Mhm.
and your differences and accepting the fact that not everyone believes, thinks, and feels the same thing. And that's okay. Like we literally have our own minds and it's cool. But no matter how old you are, if you've learned effective communication, then you should be able to have these conversations. And if you can't, then just avoid them, right? Like there's that too.
It's
So
that's one thing I always say. Somebody asks me for my opinion, and on something I'm like, one of the first questions I ask is, "Can you handle it if I have an opposite view of you? If you
yeah,
can't, then because then that's not me saying I agree or disagree with their views. I just want to make sure they can handle
yeah,
the other view before, because if they can't, then you have no right to know what I if I agree with you or not, because it doesn't seem like you'll take either one of them fairly. So.
yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
All right.
And I
Well,
would say one thing, just
uh,
kind of like people that are listening, is as we talk about these views that we might have similar, the same views on, or there may be some views within the reviews that we have different views on, but just notice how we don't like turn it into hate or that we don't turn it
right.
into name calling. I mean, besides my normal personality where I do name call you, but that's just part of my personality. That's just how I am, where I just mess with you. And you can tell I'm messing with you when we don't agree with something. I'm like, well, fuck that. Like I
Yeah.
mess around. Know the person too in their heart. But for the most part, you'll notice that if I do feel like I did say something that offends you, I will ask you, I'm like, hey, did I offend you? And if I did, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come off that way. I was just,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah, and it's one of the things that I admire about you, being your age, a lot of people can still use that as an excuse to ineffectively communicate. And so
mhm.
that's one reason that I love having you here because you you don't use age as an excuse. I mean, 24, 25 years old, you should be able to have conversations with people, but not everybody can.
I was
So,
about to say, how can my age really be an excuse at this point? But okay,
yeah.
I'm just saying, like.
So, all right, let's get to it. So, this conversation was actually two people with ADHD. We're just going to keep saying the same thing back and forth the whole episode. No, I'm kidding, kind of. Um,
We have.
it's happened. But anyway, okay. So, your friends gonna be like, I'm. never want to hear you guys record an episode again ever. All you do is talk in circles.
Yeah, at least we still get something accomplished, unlike the men that do podcasts. So,
Meet Natia, hater of men.
hi, I'm proud of it too. Proud, 'cause I'm proud. No,
Oh
I'm
God,
kidding. I only hate most men. Thank you.
it's not all men.
Exactly. I hate most men.
All right. Anyway, our hatred of men aside, this episode actually kind of is as a result of a conversation about a man. uh, I don't know. Okay, I'll start here. So I made a post. Um, I didn't give a name or anything, you know. I just said my post was, it's crazy to me that people love a man so much for solely bad-mouthing people who aren't like him. It's in the name of religion, so naturally it's okay.
See, religion should not be a cop out for anything you say or believe,
Yeah.
because each thing within religion, first of all, is up for interpretation. So if
Mhm.
you were to say this is what it means and you're letting it feed hate, then you have the wrong interpretation at that point because the Bible is not
Yeah.
meant to be the Bible is not to be used to feed hate or
So,
to feed terrible stuff. I mean, it's not to feed it or to
yeah.
back you up.
But yet so many people use the Bible and Christianity in honor of hate. And so I want to point out too that if you aren't familiar with us, Natia is a Christian. I'm not a Christian. And that is something that, first of all, when people do hear me say that, they're like, "Oh my God, you're an atheist." I'm not an atheist, not in any sense of the matter. Um, Actually, quite the opposite. I do not call myself a Christian because I don't align with the terms of modern Christianity.
See,
Um,
that's exactly what I was about to say because you called me a Christian, but I'm like, wait a minute, no, I'm not in today's world of Christianity.
oh,
I
so
do
that's
have,
my bad. I thought that you did identify as, see, I had the same conversation in this post today. Somebody was like,
yeah,
like that's not very Christian like of you. And I said, you know, I,
I'm not
I
a Christian.
don't
Yeah.
claim to be a Christian. I don't align with and this is not just social media, right? This
Right.
is the things that I see, hear, and experience with Christians in
Mhm.
person. This way that I see people treat people, like it just doesn't align to me. And
Right.
so,
Hmm.
social media aside, I don't align with that. I don't align with being hateful in the name of religion. I
Right.
just don't. And so if that's what it takes to be a Christian, and I know
Right.
people who do claim to be Christians and they are good, solid people. So
Right.
it's not to take away and say, it's kind of like that, well, it's not all blah blah blah, right?
Right.
It's
It's
not.
just a generalization of what Christianity has become in today's world. And
Absolutely.
that's why I don't say I'm a Christian. I say I'm a follower of God and I'm a follower of, doing what's within the Bible to the best of my
Yeah.
ability. Like it's about like the thing about it is in today's world, Christianity has turned into such a thing where even certain demographics of people don't feel safe with that religion. And I'm like, that really sucks because that's not what it's supposed to be. It's
Yeah.
not supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be that everyone is welcomed, loved, and cared about. And it doesn't matter how you come, it doesn't matter what you like, what you believe. It's about coming together and eating together and to pray for one another and to show love and care. I bet you
Yeah.
all these demographics that a lot of Christians are hating right now, Jesus would sit right next to them and just wash their feet too. That he would eat with them.
Yeah.
He would consider them clean. He would like it's like it's like all this stuff that's turning into hate, the Bible was never meant for that. The Bible is not a weapon towards humans, it's a weapon towards the devil. Like it's not supposed to be against each other. So,
And thank you. That is I couldn't have said it better myself. Yes, absolutely. That's a perfect way of putting it. And I see it, and that's part of the reason that I'm like, it's funny that I was like a hardcore Christian,
mhm,
and then I through obtaining and even into obtaining my bachelor's degree in Christian studies, I
mhm,
hardcore. And the more I actually learned, the more I studied their religion, the more I actually started implementing things that I was being taught outside of the church, like deep diving this religion, the more I started to kind of back off a little bit
mhm.
because, and this again is a generalization. This is from my own life experience and my own perspective, right? But the things that I've seen, the actions of people, I have seen more patience, love, and respect out of people who are either atheists or don't practice Christianity than I commonly see coming from Christians on social media, off social media. And we can say social media is irrelevant to a point. Social media is not real life, right? Social media is literally what people want other people to see. But
Right.
it is real thoughts and feelings. And the things that people put on social media are really the thoughts, the feelings, and the emotions that they have inside of them. So we do have to kind of take into perspective certain things or take into account certain things because now that's really how you feel. You just put it on the internet, so it's social media and it's not
Mhm.
you speaking it in real life. Anybody who knows me, I'm going to have the same stance on Facebook as I do in my podcast, as I do in real life. I'm also going to treat people kindly unless I'm in the car and you do something stupid while you're driving. But, then I'm just going to yell at you in my own car. I'm not going to
Then you're just being human. I mean,
I'm just, I'm just going to vent. But no, I'm working on it, right? Because it's still like anger coming out of me.
sure.
But um you know but that's important too. I'm going to treat people the same way. I'm going to respect people. I'm going to be patient with people. I'm going to understand that you know what, you have your perspective. I might not agree with you in the moment, and I might not always instantly take a step back
Hmm.
because I'm a human and I have emotions, but who I am is very consistent.
Right.
I'm going to speak up for people who need to be spoken up for, and that I made a comment to someone earlier that I would rather be in a room full of people who I don't look anything like than go in a room full of people who look like me just to fit in.
Hmm.
And I think it's funny. There's backlash that I get sometimes because I'm white and I don't like take up for the majority of white people. Because if you're wrong, you're wrong. And I think if you are a group of people who is generally treating people badly, I don't want to be a part of that no matter what characteristic I share with you, you
Hmm.
know. But I'm also not going to go join another group of people just because they don't look like me,
If
if
you
that makes
fit
sense.
in every situation, there's a problem.
Yeah,
I mean, that's about the best way to explain it. Like,
yeah,
if you fit in with every types of people and groups of people, then who are you really? Because like you're not gonna like if you go hang out with a racist group of people and then you go fit in with like a group of people that's full of different races and you're fit in there too.
yeah.
Which one are you?
Well,
It's
yeah, that's a good point though, because initially when you said that, I kind of was like, well, you should, be able to fit in with all groups of people, but you're right, because if you don't have a stance, and you just kind of go with what everybody says, then you're not an individual.
that's what's going on with Aaron Burr. That's why a lot of people didn't like Aaron Burr at the beginning of our country because he never took a stand on anything. So
Yeah,
he just kind of went with the wind blows.
yeah,
And so, in general, yeah, you want to be able to fit in with multiple, like with the old people or the young people, the middle-aged people. That's good. Being able to be in different groups, but being in groups that are opposite of each other, I just don't really understand, at least views and stance wise, if that makes sense, morality wise, and all that type of stuff. Because if you're gonna be in a group of people that hate, but then you're also in a group of people that love, then I mean, two things can exist at the same time, but not to those extremes. No.
yeah. And also kind of to piggyback off that, one of the issues that I had with this person in question, um, is, or not in question, but the, top person of topic or
Yeah.
whatever to that post was, they the way they spoke to people is kind of like overlooked by religious
Hmm.
affiliation and this large stance on against abortion. And I
Hmm.
think a lot of times when people have, or when someone, first, when you attach yourself to religion, the expectation is that everyone who practices that religion is supposed to follow behind you.
Yeah.
I know people who practice that religion who don't follow behind people just because of the religious affiliation. And
Right.
like it's weird to me to I also will not say that I'm like hardcore Democrat. um there are benefits to the Republican perspective, absolutely. There are benefits to the Democratic perspective, absolutely. So for me to say, but if I had to choose one or the other currently, I would not choose Republican.
Hmm.
And that is more so because of, again, the things that I've seen in my own life with my own eyes, heard with my own ears, not just social media based on the way that certain people who represent themselves with that affiliation treat people.
Right.
Again, I also know people who are hardcore Republican that are wonderful people.
Right.
And so, I
And
know
that's
it's
why
not,
I just stay in the middle. Like that's
yeah,
why, and this is one thing that I've kind of made the joke about. I'm just like, if a person with BPD who does black and white thinking can be in the middle of something, then all you neurotypicals need to like hop on because that means if a person with BPD can be in the gray area, there's something's wrong with everybody else. You know what I mean? They're on one or the other side, because
yeah,
both sides bring valuable like insight. I mean,
yeah,
because like it's just the extremes that are the wrong. You know what I mean? The extremes of
right,
each situation is what's wrong. Not
right.
the stance on each of them are wrong, but the how far is wrong. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. So like, I don't have a traditional family, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like, however, I see the absolute benefits of a nuclear family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, ideally, you want both parents in the household. You want both parents to be the parents who created the child or the children. I absolutely see the benefit, but my issue is how we treat people who don't fit that mold, right? And I'm not getting into politics, but like I'm not like gonna dive into politics, but my issue and my decision making comes more from how we treat people who don't fit the molds, right? And I understand and I agree with some Republican stances. Um, However, I also know from experience that that's not always how life goes. Sometimes it's in our control, sometimes it's not. I
Right.
wouldn't have chose to create children with my husband and then get divorced. It's not something
Right.
you plan to do, right? But it happens. And so what do we do to support people after things that have happened, even if we don't agree with them happening? Because guess
Yeah,
what? It's not our life to
right.
dictate, to control. So my viewpoints come more from, okay, what now? How can I benefit you now? How can I support you now? We
Mm-hmm.
can tell our children all day long, well, you shouldn't blah blah blah. I don't want blah 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 for you. But then they do it. And I can say this from experience, right? I wouldn't have gone to one person in particular and been like, you know what, you should have a baby at 22 as a single mother.
Mm-hmm.
However, it happened. So now, what can I do to support you through this?
Right.
You know,
Right.
and I think that's how we should be as a society when it comes to religion in particular, politics. Okay, you know what? This might not be my stance. This might not be what I want for me.
Yeah.
But how can I support you now that you're in this situation?
Exactly. Yep.
Or
100%.
on the flip side, you know what? This is not my household. I'm gonna stay the fuck out of it. We have to also understand that our words carry weight because
Yep.
there are people who aren't able to have uh, effective conversations, right? There are people who are emotionally charged. As the speaker was emotionally charged, there are also people who are emotionally charged who don't have emotional regulation, who don't own firearms and also attend to and cater to their mental health as to not let
Mm-hmm.
their mental health impact their decision
Right.
making around said firearms. When I make posts on Facebook or even TikTok, I'm like, I'm not posting things to change the world. I'm not an influencer. I'm not like famous. I'm just talking shit just to say shit. Somebody commented on one of my TikToks and they were like, what are you talking about? Your posts don't have any comments. And I was like, well, I'm not an influencer, so that's not an insult to me. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I
Right.
just do like a lot of other people. I just post
And
things for
there's
fun.
one thing I do want to add on to.
However, however, I also know that there's going to be people who disagree with what I have to say, right?
Mhm.
And so with me posting some of the things that I post, there are going to be opposing sides and people are going to comment negatively. But
Right.
I don't care. That's just something that I do have to be aware of because not
Mhm.
everybody's going to agree with that, what I have to say. When we put hate out to the world, sometimes we get hateful things back.
And I think one point I want to make is that even peaceful people get hate back.
Yeah,
We have
absolutely.
Mahatma Gandhi who got shot. We have Martin Luther King Jr. who got shot. These are the most two peaceful people that we have seen in a course of history, whether it's American history or another country's history. We've had peaceful people who have gotten shot for being peaceful.
Yeah.
And so and I am not comparing this guy to those two in any way.
Right,
No,
right.
no, that's not what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But my point is you can be hateful or you can be peaceful, and this world's gonna show you both of them real quick. You know what I mean? Like it's there's gonna be people that hate peace and there's gonna be people that hate, you know what I mean? And it's funny because like the person who probably did this deed towards this guy was probably doing it for peace. You know what I mean? They probably thought it was a stance of peace or it was a stance of, one less hate in this world or one less hateful or discriminatory or whatever person in this world. So it's
Yeah.
funny because when Martin Luther King Jr. was shot or Mahatma Gandhi, it was in a name of hate. When this person who might have shot this person or whoever it was might have done it in a name of peace. And so it's just funny. I just wanted to point that out, some things, I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say. It's just like it's just a very good thing to zoom out and to kind of see that perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, this is going to be one of those things that we don't completely agree on. And I say that because, and I know that's probably going to surprise some people, but, um, but I think that unless you are in the moment defending someone of physical violence or preventing someone from being a victim of physical violence, I think that the act of shooting someone is not often done in peace. And here's why I say that. Because while I do understand your perspective, coming from a place of like, okay, he probably thought by shooting this man, he was kind of eliminating a threat in a sense, and providing peace to other people who
Mm.
he is negatively affecting and harming with his words and his actions. I do understand that, and I respect it, but I think that when we have gun violence and his intention was murder, obviously, this could have been a situation where the man could have gone up and debated. It's not the fact that he's anti-abortion. It's not the fact that he's religious, blah, 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 or he claims to be a Christian. That's not the issue. Yeah, I want to kind of shift to another kind of issue that I have. And so on the post, I put RIH. Now you can interpret that however you want.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I've never heard that. I
Okay.
personally never heard it.
I meant it as rest in hell, but
Okay.
maybe that was a little over the top. But here's my thing. And I, people have commented, rightfully so, because that's their belief. And in retrospect, looking back, it was a little harsh. I can't erase it now because then it would look like I'm kind of trying to
Backtracking.
backtrack.
Yeah.
Um, it was a little harsh,
You can
but
always try to gaslight them and say it's heaven.
see, that's the thing. I meant it as rest in hell. I don't consider myself a Christian. Now,
Mhm.
if I was a Christian and I said that, that would be worse. And I think some people took it as like, oh my God, this woman who's supposed to be a Christian just said that. I do not identify as a Christian,
Mhm.
not atheist either. That's
Mhm.
a wrongful assumption. But I can look back and look through a religious view and say, oh, that probably was a bit much.
Tune in next week for part 2.
Check us out on YouTube at Rhea Higgs, ReahHagues. You can also keep up with us on Instagram at Just the Who Podcast.